there we go. I think my voice is there, and you are able to hear Dennis Gruenling as well. So
Yes, as long as I'm
welcome.
not on camera. I can't be on camera. Is that okay?
Okay, you're
Am
out
I on
of.
camera? No, I'm just kidding.
Welcome to Hohner live stream number 24. This is basically like the 1 year
24.
anniversary. I'm doing this
Yeah.
bi-weekly, and I'm very happy to welcome Dennis Gruenling.
Thank
Now
you.
from LA, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So for those who don't know Dennis, Dennis is the grandmaster of tongue blocking, I would say, both on chromatic and diatonic harmonica. A serious
Thank you.
microphone expert, as you can see in the background, and a David Lynch superfan, which
That's true.
I like as well.
Very nice. We could talk about that.
Yeah. So we've met before, haven't we?
We have met before. We've met. Have we met more than once before on here, or no?
I'm not sure.
We did a lesson, didn't we?
I really did some research, and I actually found an email from 2011.
Right. Wow.
So that's some time
quite
ago.
Yeah, it's a while ago.
And maybe I can even like read it out loud because it's interesting. Like,
What did I say? Don't read anything bad.
nothing bad. Yeah, nothing bad. But yeah, I think we did like 2 or 3 lessons, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I remember.
It's almost 10 years ago, man.
And I was just like very, very heavily into tongue blocking.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like afterwards, I mean, the first time I heard about you was basically through Ben Baumann from the Netherlands.
Okay, yeah.
So these were like the first like harmonica workshops I visited, and he gave me a DVD with like hundreds of your recordings.
Hundreds of my recordings?
Oh yeah, I think so. Like 200 or 300 songs on there.
Wow, I don't even know if I recorded that many.
And I was listening to that a lot. I think it started with the 1313 stomp.
Oh, yeah, wow, okay. That old jump time stuff.
Yeah, which I really enjoyed. And then later, I think we met in New York at one point. I visited
Yes.
Jay Gaunt a few years
that.
ago,
Yeah.
and
I
we
forgot
wanted to
about
get
that.
into Terra Blues. Is that what the blues club is called?
Yes. Yeah.
And I wasn't 21 at that point,
Yeah, I know.
so
Yeah,
I couldn't get in.
Yeah, I remember that. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I really had to think. But yeah,
Yeah, wow. That's
So-
cool, man.
these are the things I can remember, and I will read the email later because it's like just good advice from you.
Oh, cool. Cool. Well, I'm glad to hear that.
So yeah, people are already like tuning in from Sweden, from
Hello, Sweden.
Transylvania. Mhm.
Transylvania, yes. I have a friend that, well, obviously that's, where I'm from, Transylvania,
Okay, yeah.
originally, yes.
Oh, there's another question already from Germany that says, "Can you tongue block overblows?" This is like
Yes, I've been doing
the
that
deep
for
stuff
years.
already.
Yeah, sure. Come on. Everybody knows that one.
Yeah. Oh, they want more volume from you.
From
I can do that. That's no problem.
more. Is this any better? Is that good? Can you hear me
Wow, this changes the sound a lot.
Yes, I'm sorry. I can also turn my gain up, or do you want to do that on your end? That's up to you.
Oh no, it should be fine now.
All right. Is it fine, everybody? My
Yeah.
voice carries. It's global.
Oh, so many questions already. Somebody
Great.
is asking.
Let's not answer any of them because I like to be a little mysterious,
Okay, yeah, I think you don't want to count like how many microphones you have in the
Yeah,
background,
well, yeah, I have an estimate, but yeah.
because that's one question.
Oh, I'm sure there is. Yeah, more than what you see behind me.
Yeah.
So did you have your own questions that you were gonna ask me first, and then take other questions, or how?
Oh
were we
yeah,
gonna
I
do
mean,
this?
I also have stuff to talk about too. Yeah, there are
Okay,
just these
cool.
questions coming in that early already.
Is it mostly going to be David Lynch and Ingmar Bergman and Alfred Hitchcock? Maybe we could do that.
Yeah. maybe talking about our interpretations of Mulholland Drive.
Yes, let's do it.
I think
We will
that's
lose
why
all of the
everybody
harmonica players.
everybody tuned in today.
Yes, yes. We're gonna lose all of the harmonica players out there.
Yeah, I just think if we don't answer the questions that are coming in right now, we'll forget about them.
That's true. Yeah, we can answer whatever. Yeah, do whatever you want. I'm here.
So
Let's
let's
do it.
just do like a few real quick. Um,
Okay. How quick?
how and why do you have so many vintage microphones?
Well, okay. I started the first microphone I bought. I started playing when I was a teenager, and the first microphone, the first vintage microphone that I bought, I got ripped off. I paid a lot of money, which for me at the time, which I didn't really have, but I wanted the microphone. It was an aesthetic. And it didn't work well, and I was really mad. So I just started, I was still in high school, but I was just going to school. I was getting ready to drop out of high school, and I just started looking for microphones myself. I started working on microphones back then.
Okay.
So yeah, and then within a couple years, I started making them for some friends and other players I knew. And as the years went by, I just, oh, this one's a little different. I'm gonna hold on. Let me put that one aside. Oh, this one's that's cool. That's a different model. Let me hold on to that one. And then 25 years later, this is what happens.
So is this what you call gas?
Uh, well, this is a little more serious than that. This is where that leads to. No, it's a at one point I decided to really, that it was going to be a collection. And, I'm working on some articles and some photos I'm going to put on my website. Who knows where that's going to lead to, but I'm documenting all my data and all that stuff from the collection and photographing all these hundreds of microphones. So,
Yeah. So to any of you, like if you're interested in that stuff, you can check out Dennis' website, badassharmonica.com, which I'll link below in the description box. And you also
Thank
sell
you.
microphones there, right?
I sell them. Yeah, I have photos and demo videos of the microphones for sale on my site, which changes all the time. But I also have a page on the website that kind of slowly I've been documenting, microphones in the collection, see some different photos and stuff. So
Nice. Yeah. Jay is also asking, have you worked for a company or distributor? Obviously. We're
for
doing
what?
this for Hohner.
Oh yeah, of course, yes.
But
I
that's
I
something I
I
wanted to ask you too. Like, how did your connection to Hohner start?
Well, my first harmonica was a Hohner, but it was a cheap pocket pal that I got with a little instructional thing. But
Okay.
when I first started, like most people, I tried all different brands. The first one I got was a blues harp after that first harmonica, the first one I went to the store to buy. And I liked it, so I bought a few. And then within the first year, I tried some other brands, but I kept going back to the blues harp. But this was back before the MS series. They still had not
Oh
long
yeah,
before the
true.
MS series, but they were similar to the old Marine bands. They were smaller type bodies, just like the stock Marine bands. So then I started moving to the Marine bands that I liked a little better once I tried them out, and I've been playing them ever since. I've tried other brands over the years, and people give me harmonicas, but
Yeah.
there's nothing like a Marine band. So
So is that also
yeah.
something you would recommend for a beginner harmonica player right now?
Um, well, a beginner, I don't know. I definitely recommend trying other stuff, but I've, in my experience, I know a lot of people like the Special 20, which is really a good harp. And if you want to even the next step up would be the Rocket that a lot of people like. I'm not a personal fan of the plastic comb harmonicas. I just do
Yeah.
not like the way that they feel when you play them. That's me. But yeah, if you're a fan of blues and American roots music and you like the sound, a lot of the old classic recordings were done on marine band and marine band style harps. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, for you, it's like even maybe like a bigger topic, like the comb of the harmonica, because you're like basically like almost 100% tone blocker.
Right.
So if you're
Right.
lip
Just about
pursing only, I
99.9.
mean,
Yeah.
there might be people who don't care that much.
Well, here's the thing. A part of it, is not just the way it sounds, which is a big part of it, but I think a bigger part of it for the player themselves is how it feels when you're doing different things on it,
Yeah.
especially when you're bending certain notes or when you're getting a double stop or a slightly distorted bent note. It feels a certain way. The reeds and the reed plates and the combs that they use has a certain feel when you play them that I have not gotten on any other harp. And I've tried other brands. People have given me, oh, here's a good wood harp from so and so, and you know, just can't.
Yeah.
Not the same. Not the same at all.
There's Boao Liu, a fan from China. Wow,
Hey,
that's
how's it
great.
going?
Can you watch YouTube in China? There's a way
I
to do
think
it.
so. Yeah.
Oh, I already got lost. Like so many questions.
Oh, come on.
Dennis,
People are waiting for their answers.
what do you think is the social role of a musician?
The
Wow.
social role?
Yeah.
Well, well, I'm not sure. Do you mean privately or publicly?
I'm not sure. It's not my question.
Because as a person, I'm pretty private socially. I this whole thing about where we're staying in and we're not going out, that suits me totally fine. Because I'm fine. Not I'm a pretty private person. I mean, I'm outgoing when I'm on stage playing or
Yeah.
talking about something I love, but aside from that, I'm totally fine staying in and. But if you're talking about social issues, that's a different story.
Yeah.
And I think and I've heard some people get tired of it, but I think everybody needs to speak up for what they believe in, regardless of whether they have a public voice or not. And I think if something is for the greater good, I think people do need to stand up and say something. So I don't know which he was referring to, but there's my answer for both.
Of course. Yeah. But like, what I wanted to ask you too is like just when did you play your last concert? Like
When did I play my last concert?
in front of people?
I was on the road with Nick Moss right when people were starting to realize that this was getting serious, or
Okay.
or right when they were letting the public know in America that it was getting serious. I think the last date we had was maybe March 14th or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
And that even that week, we knew stuff was going down, but places were still open, and we didn't know, and I didn't know certainly how serious it was, or I wouldn't even have been on the road. But yeah, the last, I think we had one or two shows that week that canceled because I guess they were during the week. But the last gig we did that week in New Orleans, and Jason was there. Jason and Johnny Sansone were on the show with us, and we actually moved the gig a little early because they had to close the bar early because they were starting to have
Yeah.
curfew and close things early because of what was going on. But that was, I think it was the March 13th or 14th.
But yeah,
And I miss
now it's a
I
little
miss
different.
performing. Yeah, 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 totally. And I miss performing, but the biggest thing that I miss most is the interaction between the musicians and the audience, because one of the beautiful things about any kind of live performance art, anything like this, is there's that energy that's happening that when I'm in the studio, I always give them 300%. That's how it should be. Or when you play a club and there's only 5 people there, sometimes during the week on the road that happens. You got to give your all anyway. But it's a total different energy when you're there in front of people and they're really digging what you do and they're giving that energy back. And you can't really replace that. So I really miss that.
Yeah. So like, you started to give harmonica lessons online very very early on. So
Yes.
as I said, like I got lessons from you online. I think it was on Skype 9 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been doing that since before Skype even. I remember I got my first Apple laptop computer, and they had at back then it was pioneering. They had these eyesight cameras,
Mm-hmm.
and like these aluminum round cameras that you would clip on the top of your laptop, and it was like the big deal back then. And it had the firewire back then, and as soon as I got that, I was like, Nobody's going to be driving around to lessons anymore. People are going to be taking lessons on the computer. But it was difficult at that time, cross-platform. Like I had a Mac, and not everybody has a Mac. Obviously,
Okay,
more
yeah.
people didn't back then. So I was doing lessons with people who were on a PC or a Windows computer, and it was a little difficult. I had to get a whole bunch of different software things to make it happen. And now, everybody and their brother's doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Colorette liked the Beast in Mulholland Drive.
Ah,
Yeah, there's some harmonica
that's
in
such
it.
a
So
yes.
every harmonica player should watch it.
Right, Sonny Boy.
Yeah, that's also referring to recordings. But like, how do you prepare for recordings? Like you still do some recordings right now at home,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, sure. How do I prepare for recordings? The same way that I prepare for everyday life. I my philosophy and my approach is to just be real in the moment. I don't like anything in art or even, I wouldn't say anything, but mostly anything. I really appreciate things that are spontaneous and real and in the moment. And especially for this kind of music, it really has to be. And I feel if you don't do it that way, you're kind of doing a disservice to the music. But I just try to always be on top of my game as a musician. I keep my chops up, make sure it depends on the situation. If it's a recording with my touring band, like Nick Moss Band, or my own thing, I don't need to prepare because I'm already, I know kind of what my approach is.
Yeah.
And I don't do anything specific to keep my chops up because I'm always keeping my chops up. If it's a different situation with a different band or musician or a totally different style thing that I'm not used to, the only thing I will do is I'll make sure I know the material, and I'll just, if it's a different kind of vibe, I'm just going to listen to other music that has that similar kind of vibe and, kind of get my head there as much as possible.
Yeah, what
But I
I'm
don't do any
interested
specific
in.
warm ups or anything.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to ask. Like, after thinking about this question from the chat, like, do you do like any warm ups or like warm downs before or and after concerts?
No, I may have some coffee before the session, but that's about it, really.
Okay, yeah. I mean, there are
Yeah.
people who like, I don't know, do meditation or like Wim Hof breathing techniques and stuff like
Well,
that.
I meditate twice a day, every day.
Okay,
So that's part of my daily thing. I've been doing that for like 8 years.
but
And
it's not
it's
like directly connected to live performances.
it is. In fact, it's actually directly related to everything I do now.
Okay,
It,
yeah,
it just affects, meditation is probably the single most best thing that I've done for myself. Uh, that I chose to do for myself as an adult. And it really affected when I first started doing it. And I got hip to it just because I'm a big David Lynch fan, and we can get into that later because
yeah,
he has this David Lynch Foundation, and then they fund teaching this meditation to veterans and at-risk communities and abuse survivors and all that kind of stuff, people in stressful situations and lifestyles. And for some reason, I just felt drawn to meditation, and I started learning it. And the first week or two after I started doing it, I mean, I started writing. I would be waking up with songs in my head, be writing down stuff like daily, multiple times a day, even. It's a great way to kind of reboot your brain and be more grounded. And then it's funny because the number one thing that people say, which is the same thing I used to say, is one, I don't have time for it, and
yeah,
two, I can't clear my mind. I can't meditate. But the whole point of meditation really is to not let those thoughts, you know, not respond immediately to the thoughts. Just let them happen. Nobody can shut your thoughts off. I mean, unfortunately, it's part of our existence. But learning how you respond and react to them in a different way is really powerful when you can control that.
yeah. So I I think like I don't do like any warm ups anymore before concerts because
Yeah.
like there will be like so many situations being on tour playing concerts where you don't have the time to do them.
True, true.
And if you don't
When
have
I'm
the
on the
time
road, I
and
try
you're
to
like,
meditate. Actually, I'm sorry. There was a delay. When
okay,
I try to on the road, I've tried to make sure I meditate for the second time during the day before the show. It doesn't always happen though,
oh
but
yeah,
again, it helps me kind of from that crazy lifestyle. It kind of helps me ground a little bit. I didn't want to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
but yeah, like as long as it's not like necessary for you to do before, right before the concert, because then it's like a problem. You can't always do it, I would
Sure,
say.
sure. Yeah, yeah. For me, it's just the regular practice of doing it helps me get into that zone whenever I want, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so good because like you got to be ready like at any moment.
Exactly. Yeah, in life and on the stage.
Yeah. Um, I mean that one is obviously from where do you buy your harmonica microphones?
I've been collecting for so long. You can't. Honestly, they're more difficult to find now. Or if you go online, people want a lot of money and they don't work. So it's most of my collecting was done years ago.
Yeah, but you also do like some repairing and stuff, right?
I repair them and I rebuild them and I do sell them and I do trade with other players and other collectors too. Now,
Yeah.
sure, I'm
Well,
always looking for cool things to trade.
I mean, this is like fascinating for me. For me, it's like not too big of a topic
Hmm.
personally because I'm not like really playing through an amp and stuff on stage. Um, I think early on I got like a green bullet microphone, just like the
Hmm.
regular one,
Hmm. The
and
newer one.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And I played the Electro Voice RE10 for some time,
Hmm.
just because I saw like Carlos Serjonco using it.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, and now like it's different. And if I'm playing classical concerts, I'm just playing like through a regular microphone.
Sure. Of course. Yeah. Well, that kind of fits it better.
Yeah, maybe I can read the emails you sent me now.
Yeah. I hope it's good.
So I was basically talking about Carlos and Jason Ritchie in that mail, and you said Carlos and Jason are great, but there are maybe techniques you won't get to learn and put into practice if you aren't learning more from some great tongue blockers, which is true. I know I probably am repeating myself,
I do
but
that.
I only
I tend
say
to do
this
that
because
often.
I know you want to be the best player you can be. That was my goal. That's true. Um, you want to learn from all the great players and learn from all the best techniques to make your own style eventually.
Yeah.
That's the
I
email I
believe it.
found.
Cool. Cool. Well, that's good. That was. I'm glad I said that.
And I mean, it was a big thing for me because I basically, for some time, I switched to 100% tongue blocking.
So,
And
how much do you use now?
mm, only when I have to.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Because it's not, because there's a sound I want to get that's not possible to get with lip pursing.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think otherwise I have more control lip pursing. But it's like just
Gotcha.
very, very comfortable to know that I'm able to do all that stuff with tongue blocking
Sure.
too. Like if
Right.
I like forget to switch embouchures in between phrases or something, I'm not screwed. Like I can do
Right.
all that stuff.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. 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 That's good.
Yeah, I thought like I still got to think about this how we could do this. Like maybe do a little like tongue blocking lip pursing challenge or something.
On here,
Yeah.
what would be the challenge?
I'm not sure. Like I really got to think about stuff like um
See, I can't really lip. I have a hard time lip blocking because I'm just, I've been tongue blocking primarily for over 20 years.
yeah.
I get tongue tied.
But you do play through both sides of your mouth. Like you are also able to play
If
the
it
stuff you play through the
only
right
when I
side
feel,
through the
yeah,
other one.
only when I feel I need to. Sure, I don't do it like on just to do it because really the chords you want to get if you're using any tongue blocking techniques are always going to be to the lower side. So unless I'm flipping my harmonica over, which
Yeah.
actually Steve Geiger does, um, it wouldn't make sense to do that for any extended period of time. Sometimes in the middle of a lick, I will switch.
Okay. Yeah. And what I want to ask for everyone, of course, like, how do you approach hole one? Like, are you tongue blocking that one too, or does it differ, like, depending on the situation?
Yeah, it depends on the context. Sometimes I'll keep my tongue on all the way just on the left of the harmonica, just on the comb. Sometimes I'll switch and block to the right, and sometimes I'll pucker. It just kind of depends on the context of the note in the lick, where I'm coming from and where I'm going to, really.
Okay. Yeah.
Most often, 2 out of 3 times, my tongue's on the harp. Once in a while, I'll pucker. It just depends on the moment.
So I have a phrase for you.
Okay.
What would you do in this situation? Like, that's just C harmonica.
Oh, let me grab where'd my C go? That's C's kind of high.
Oh yeah, you can choose.
See, for that, I'm kind of blocking and unblocking so I can get that chord, and then I'm quickly, because it's so quick, I'm going to the one puckered.
Yeah.
But that's, if I want to do it without the thumb blocking, I guess I could go back and forth. I just don't normally
Right.
want to play that fast.
Yeah.
But I like that for something like that is purposely fast and kind of rhythmic anyway. I want to add that vamp on there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just me.
Yeah. That would be like the other option, and it wouldn't make sense at all. Like I did it like just to practice it, but like to move the tongue to the right side of the mouth and play whole one through the left side.
Yeah.
That's just like good tongue
That would
practice.
be a little. You could do that.
Yeah.
But to me, I think it would be the most difficult out of all three.
Yeah.
And it's never like, why would you do the most difficult?
But yeah, as soon as I started to tongue block, like I think I had some lessons with Ben Baumann also online, and he also suggested like you should practice playing the C major scale through the left side of your mouth.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is.
I mean, it
Which is
definitely
good.
comes in handy if you play all types of music and you want to have the the broadest range of technique to approach all different things from, for sure.
Yeah.
Playing the kind of music that I am normally playing, which is blues or like American roots style of music, blocking to the left is kind of really, I mean, blocking to the left is the primary embouchure, and blocking to the right is kind of just like a novelty thing or a convenience thing, depending on the lick. Really.
Yeah.
But again,
or if
I
you want to
mentioned
get
Steve
like
Geiger.
chordal comping on hole one, like.
Right, or if you're playing the harp upside down, because then that's where those lower notes are.
Yeah, who's doing that? Like Lee Sankey?
Is he
Anyone
playing
else?
upside down?
Yeah.
Well, Sonny Terry did. William Clark did. I think didn't Butterfield as well. I'm not sure.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean those guys aren't bad players.
It's true.
But they didn't. From what I know, I mean those players, they had no reference of what was backwards or forwards. They just started playing that way. And that's how it happened. So for them, it wasn't really difficult because that's how they started.
Yeah. So you like basically put me onto the chromatic harmonica too. And
Oh wow.
I got chromatic harmonicas just to play blues in D minor and stuff. How was it for you? Like, did the diatonic harmonica come first or the chromatic harmonica?
Diatonic harmonica came first. When I got my first harmonica as a gift, and but also that same day, I saw that and heard that Harp Attack album, which and it had James Cotton. He was one of those guys was holding a big chromatic. I was like, wow, what's that?
Yeah. It's
I
also
figured
better
one
for
day-
photo shoots.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, it looks more impressive even if you can't play it.
Yeah.
As we all know. But yeah, I remember seeing that and thinking, wow, if I could just play one song on the chromatic, I'll be happy. And then I think like the next year I got one, and then that was, I got the Hohner 280, just a standard, 16 hole chromatic.
Yeah.
And that was at the time I was already listening to Little Walter and Charlie Musselwhite and Rob Piazza and William Clark, and I started to get hip to George Smith a little bit at that point, and that was it.
Wow. Yeah. That's great. I mean, I just really fell in love with that sound at some point, and
Yeah.
I was even practicing like all the major scales in all keys on the chromatic at some point, but
That's great.
then I threw it away.
Oh, really? It's they're totally different instruments. If I don't know if you've ever played a horn, but I played a little saxophone, a little clarinet.
Oh yeah, I
They're
played
more
clarinet.
they're more similar than the diatonic and the chromatic harmonica.
Yeah.
It's a completely different instrument, but it's still a cool sound.
And I
But
just remember like starting to tongue block on the chromatic harmonica, blocking 3 holes, and I was just
Oh, yeah.
practicing endlessly, and my lips hurt like so much.
yeah. You want to do that kind of practice in small doses.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah, for
I
sure.
still carry them with me, and sometimes
For photo shoots.
for photo shoots, no, I actually never use them because like I don't play these instruments. But like for some blues stuff sometimes, or if people want me to play like Stevie Wonder,
Right, sure. Yeah.
if they want to have that sound on the recording, you have to do it.
Yeah. Well, he's one of the greats, man.
So did he actually influence your playing in some way?
He did not, but I've always loved his playing.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
for harmonica, it was always the blues stuff, but I was familiar with Stevie Wonder's music, and I just think he's a musical genius, and I really love his harmonica playing. It's not particularly what I want to do. I mean, I admire and love a lot of musicians who aren't particularly what I want to do, but some of them still really move me, and I'm really drawn to it. He's one of
Nice.
those players.
Yeah.
I think I haven't heard him play anything where I just didn't dig what he was playing.
Yeah. There are like so many great compositions too. Like also some of the lesser known stuff.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
there are amazing songs.
for sure.
There's a whole crossover harmonica fan gang building in the chat,
Uh-oh.
which is great because you're on the packaging of that harmonica,
Sure, yeah.
and I heard you
Yeah.
get like 80% of the sales.
Oh, I think it went up to 120%.
Okay. Uh,
I didn't even know that was going to happen when that happened.
okay. Yeah.
So
So
it's just
you were just surprised, like how did you
somebody
get to
sent.
know about this then?
Well, somebody, I had a student who was at the NAMM show, and I guess here in LA when that happened, and I don't know where I was. I may have even been on the road at the time, but I got a text message with a photo of me on the box, and I looked, and at first I was like, why are they photoshopping a picture of me on a Hohner box? And then, somebody else sent me a photo, and I figured, wow, because somebody at Hohner had asked me for some photos, but I just figured, for the website, because I'm an
Yeah.
official Hohner player. And before you know it, a couple other people sent me photos, and that's how I found out about it. They wanted to surprise me with that, which is awesome because that's what I play. I mean, I don't play them because I'm on the box. I'm on the box, I guess, because I play them, and it's
Yeah.
just I love those harps. But yeah, I was surprised as anybody else. And then when I put it online, somebody thought that I photoshopped it.
Okay. I'm not sure if people want. I mean, I'm sure like that was the case like during the last streams. Like people want to hear some music. So
Oh,
if
I got some records here. I can put on some Lester Young or AC/DC. Got some
oh
Chuck
yeah,
Berry.
I
Yeah,
remember s- walking into somebody who wore an AC/DC like belt
yeah,
yesterday.
that's cool. Was that the whole story?
That's the whole story here.
Oh, I
So
was
Jay is
set up for a
asking,
big punchline.
talking about fashion, Jay is asking, why do you always wear like you're in the jungle?
What's wrong with the jungle? Well, he says that like it's a bad thing.
Yeah,
I don't understand why. I well,
don't
first of
understand
all,
with that question.
yeah. It's okay. It's okay. You know him. Um, I love animals and I love animal print. It's just one of those things, you know. And it's also a very kind of 50s rock and roll thing, but I've always loved the animal print thing.
Nice. He's also asking if you will ever come to Italy.
I would love to come to Italy. That's one of the places that I've been wanting to go my whole life and I haven't been there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I
I
would love to
think
go,
there's
especially
a
in
big
truffle
blues scene
season.
there too.
Yes, there is a blue scene, and they have there's like isn't there like a specific truffle season, especially for like black truffles? I want to go there and like they
Mm,
can shave truffles on all of my meals.
yeah. So you said that you play crossover harmonicas. So
Yeah.
are you working on them on your own, or do you have a customizer?
Well, both, all three. Sometimes I play them out of the box. A lot of times I've been playing them out of the box the past bunch of years, the crossovers and the Thunderbirds,
Which is
and
a
I
great
still
sign that harmonicas are getting better.
yes they are. Um, and also some standard marine bands too. Um, but for years, I was playing marine bands customized by Joe Falisco and Richard Slay, and those guys are, to me, those are the guys. And so many of the other guys learned directly or indirectly from Joe or Richard, but those guys are the top. And yeah, they still build harps for me sometimes, or mainly, repair either the older harps they built for me or newer harps when I wear them out and they will rework them. But a lot of times I play them out of the box, tum blocking, doing overblows, doing whatever. I think they play great.
Nice. That's great. How do you get along? That's just a personal question by me. With cupping them like very tightly, because of course these crossover harmonicas they have the opened sides, and
I like the open
I
side.
have very small hands, and I
Hmm.
actually prefer like the closed cover plates. Maybe for that reason, because it's just
Right.
easier for
Well,
me
hold
to.
up your hand. How big is your hand? Let me see.
Oh yeah, can
Compare
you
it to
measure
mine.
this like with your
Yeah.
iPhone or something?
Well, it looks like mine's bigger. See, I'm just kidding. That's Well, people tell me I have big hands anyway, but I do like the open sides of of the cover plates because it does, when I want to project, it helps it project and brighten up a little bit.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
I do like that. I remember at some point, I don't think it was Richard. I think somebody else had given me a custom harp where they were sealed. It was a marine band, but they covered up the open slots on the side of the cover plates. And I was
Mm,
like, I didn't even notice it at first, but when I was playing, I was like, something sounds funny.
okay.
And I looked at it and I just did not like that at all.
But yeah, maybe this is like an unpopular opinion, but don't you think like this could be a little subjective too?
Well, of course, it comes down to the size of the harp we play and prefer, how big our hands are, and
Yeah.
what cupping techniques we develop. So yeah, of course, these things are different from one person to the next. For me personally, it's same thing with playing the harps. What harps you like? I mean, I just like those, especially the wood or bamboo or composite wood comb harmonicas because they feel differently when you play them, especially when you bend a note or get a chord or a double stop, distorted note. They feel different to me, and that's what I'm drawn to, and that's what I really like. But everybody experiences these things a little differently. Everybody's built a little differently. They breathe a little differently. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
That's very personal.
for sure. Yeah.
And of course
Plus,
you.
plus, also with the cover plates, I've worked a long time at trying to develop a good hand technique with a bullet microphone,
Oh yeah.
which took a little getting used to when I first started, but then it was easy after I worked at it, and part of it is cupping around the sides because that's how you help control the tone. But it's nice that when I open it, I still want it brighter,
Yeah.
so
I remember working on my microphone technique a lot. Um and I think I transcribed one of your solos from a live
oh really?
video like
Oh really? Can I
nine
hear
years
it?
ago.
Let me hear it. That'd be great.
9 years ago. And there was like a live video where you shared the stage with Rod Piazza,
Oh yeah.
and you are playing like an endless solo, and he's waiting to get the microphone back from you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know
But
the
that one was like that video was like mesmerizing for me, and I really liked the solo, and I was playing it note for note and working
Oh,
on
thanks.
my working on my microphone technique. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny because when that happened, that was in New Jersey at the State Theater, and when that happened, I when I play, I just kind of get in the zone. I don't really pay attention to what's happening, honestly. And sometimes that works against me because when I was playing and I saw he was next to me, but I didn't really see what he was doing.
Yeah.
And then the next day, because I forget who put the video. I think I know the person, but they put up the video and I saw it or the next day or that week, and I was like, oh man, I hope Rod wasn't mad at me.
Yeah.
And I didn't see it until later. And I just saw Rod the other day, but I talked to him after that happened.
Yeah.
I was like, Rod, I didn't know you, and he told me after that. George would do that all the time. He's trying to make a joke out of wanting to get the mic back, and I just thought it was pretty funny after I
Oh
watched it,
yeah.
but I was worried at first.
I mean, for those who are watching, I have no idea how you can find the video, but you can. There's a
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll put a link up maybe later if I can find the YouTube thing.
Yeah. So Alexander is asking, what microphone are you actually using then on stage right now?
Well, none right now, but in general, I
So
only
what's
use
the microphone you
crystals.
have in front of you?
Oh, actually this is one I'm trading to somebody else. I normally use a JT30 with a crystal element. I only really use crystals.
Oh yeah, I was talking
Uh,
about the other one.
which other one? Oh, this one. Oh,
Yeah.
this one. You want me to cup that for harmonica? That could work too. Yeah, this is
RIP,
that's just the
RIP
USB mic.
headphone users.
Look out. So, yeah. So what mic do I use for harp?
Yeah.
Use I when I'm on the road, I take a couple, older
Okay.
crystal bullets. I have different ones. I try not to have a favorite and use the same one all the time because I don't want to just rely on one specific mic.
Hmm.
But I do, I swap them up every couple months, but and then sometimes I sell them. But I have two JT30s with crystal elements, and then I think I have what I was using recently. I had a Turner Challenger with a crystal and something else. I think I had one of those universal, but they're all crystals. Some are static crystals, some brush crystals, Japanese crystals. I'm a crystal mic guy. They add a certain texture when you play amplified. Not just this music, but it fits blues and it fits rock and roll really well. There's a certain type of texture and overtones that you get with a good crystal element that you can't really get with other mics just because of how they work. Each one's different, but
Yeah.
with a good one through a nice amplifier, it adds all these different sonic textures to it and overtones that you can't really get, acoustic. And I'm really drawn to that sound.
Nice. Yeah. Like a few days ago, I think in my daily stream, I showed everybody like the frequency range of the harmonica and the
Hmm.
overtones and stuff, and how you can change them if you have a good embouchure,
Oh
like
yeah,
lip pursing or like tongue blocking. It's maybe easier for a beginner to get a warmer tone tongue blocking, I would even say.
sure. Hmm.
Um, and it was just crazy to see it again for me because it was like so obvious because the harmonica
Yeah,
is like so overtone rich.
it is. Yes,
Maybe a little too much.
it depends on the player. Yeah.
I mean, I basically only go up to a D harmonica. Like above that is like a little too bluegrassy for me.
Yeah, yeah.
So you like to play a lot of low tuned harmonicas too. Um,
Yes.
how did that start?
Well, I love baritone saxophone, and when I really was getting hip to Leo Parker and Paul Williams, on I just and I love trombone, but especially baritone from those guys and a couple other players. I always just was more drawn to the lower register, and I love what they did. Those really fat, full body tones, but kind of jumping and swinging. And I was like, wow, how can I do that on harmonica? I hear it, but how do I do it? And
Yeah.
back then, when I wanted to play this stuff, you couldn't easily get low tuned 10-hole diatonic harmonicas. Hohner made some, and I think a few others were available, but they were really hard to get. The quality was not good, and the most easily available ones were those 12 or 14-hole ones in the key of C, and they really were not great quality. And most people just kind of use them to play the Sonny Boy kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
just for the chordal stuff. Yeah.
Right, right. But that's not at all what I wanted to do. So I had Joe Flisco and Richard Slay. They would build me custom low tuned 10-hole diatonic harmonicas, sometimes taken from those bigger marine bands and cut, chopped down. They would build my cones. I mean, I still have some of them here. I got, well, here's a D right here.
Oh yeah. So do they also have the double thick wheat plates?
So this was, yeah, a lot of them did because they resonate. They're gonna be a little louder,
Yeah.
right? Um, uh, the double thick replays will also not make as long, but you just don't. Again, you don't want to play any good custom harp too hard anyway. That's the number one rule for playing harmonica is you don't want to play hard to begin with.
Yeah.
But yeah, so back then you couldn't just get them, so I had them all custom made, and it took I'd buy like one or two at a time because they were expensive for me. But then I started recording with them, and then all of a sudden people were like, oh, where do you get those low tuned harmonicas? And then nowadays every company makes them,
True.
but you couldn't really get them back then. So I had Joe and Richard make me custom ones.
Yeah, I remember when Hohner started with the Thunderbird, which was
Hmm.
basically in like 2010 or 11. And I think
Hmm.
I was at the music fair in Frankfurt, and they had them for the first time, and all of us were like trying out all the low harmonicas
Yeah.
and trying to bend the low notes. Who can bend the lowest
Yeah.
note? Um, I think that was with Steve Baker was
Right,
there,
right,
and also
right.
Howard Levy. And do you have any advice for people trying to bend the notes on the lower tuned harmonicas?
Well, it's the same as building up your chops for really high key harmonicas, like an F or a high G or something. It's because it's such an extreme part of the range of what we're comfortable with, most people anyway. If you don't build up to those to get those chops, so you want to make sure you have good technique in a regular range first, and then keep lowering your range on a regular practice schedule, and just keep getting lower and lower. Maybe you're comfortable with the G, then start using a low F on a regular basis, then a low E flat, then a low D, then a low C. But you really want to keep up with your practice and your chops, or else you will lose it if you don't keep it up. And I found that out pretty quick. Eventually I started doing it, and it took a while to kind of get used to doing it because it's so far down in your airstream where you need to control those tones, especially the bends.
Yeah.
Just like when you play a high F or a high G, it's such a small portion of the front of your mouth. You're really controlling those tones. You really need to keep up those chops, or you lose that control.
Yeah, thinking about this, like actually the lower harmonicas really fit your style of playing, just like being a tongue blocker. That's just my thought right now, because like the lower bands,
Hmm.
you're basically playing them from further inside of your mouth, and
Right.
compared to like bendings on an F harmonica,
Right. Yeah.
that's like
That's I don't use an F much. In fact, I think I have now. I think I have two F harmonicas. I have a crossover and a marine band, and I think this is the most F harmonicas I've had in my entire lifetime. Is
yeah.
two Fs at once.
I don't even carry them in my case, like
Yeah, yeah. The only reason I have one is that there was a song with Nick Moss that we would do on the road, a slow blues, and I would use an F once in a while
yeah,
to do some kind of acoustic Sonny Boy kind of stuff or whatever. But yeah, I hardly ever use that.
because like with these higher bands, like it's the front of your mouth and like the tip of your tongue, and I mean that's a little, yeah, that you have not that many possibilities with your tongue. sitting on the harmonica.
Right.
So,
Right.
talking about this, it's time for another tongue blocking challenge.
Okay.
I
Here we
mean, I
go.
did this in some of my.
You know what? I really don't mind this, and it's really cool. But if you're gonna have a tongue blocking challenge, you gotta have like really cool graphics and sound effects. Tongue blocking challenge
Oh
2020.
yeah, just adding some memes and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be really cool, man. Come on.
Yeah, this is just something I did in my daily stream. I was basically just playing whole two draw, just articulating it like rhythmically, just improvising. Like one
Right.
time with tongue blocking and one time with lip pursing, and people, yeah, had the chance to like choose like which one was
Hmm.
one or the other version.
Cool. Can I hear that?
Yeah, maybe you can tell me which of my
Well,
version
it's a
is
lot.
tongue blocking.
Well, sure, it's a lot harder to hear over the internet than
Of
it is in
course.
person,
Yeah.
though. That's cheating.
Okay,
Go ahead. Yeah.
I would try. I would start with this one. That's the first one.
Okay.
Second one.
The last one kind of cut out a little bit.
Okay.
All right, hold on, hold on. The setting, the volume went way down on that last thing you played
Mm,
for me.
okay. I I I should adjust my audio settings within Zoom actually
Oh
for
yes, yes,
for
definitely. Yeah,
audio
yeah.
or for like music.
See, I get it. You pull me into this tongue block challenge, and then you trick me because I can't hear, and then you pressure me for an answer.
Let me see. I learned that from somebody. I gotta deactivate like
Yep, you go disable the first two settings
yeah.
for suppression. Yeah, cool.
Okay, one more time.
Okay, the answer is you were you blocking.
That's the first one.
Okay.
Second one.
Yep. Well, they were pretty close. It was kind of hard to tell the details,
Of course.
especially opening and closing your hands. I mean, my first instinct would say the first one was lipped and the second one was tongue blocked, but it was kind of hard to. It was still
Mm,
cutting out a little bit with your
yeah.
hands.
It was the other way around actually.
Cool.
But I mean that's something you're also just really good at, and which is something like important to practice to articulate well enough while tongue blocking.
Sure. Well, that's what it's all about is the articulation.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's not really about what people think they're hearing. It's about being able to play cleanly and clearly, but also being able to use those effects. You know, I mean, when we're playing, the fact of the matter is, most people we're playing to, if at least if we're live performers, if we're not just doing a seminar specifically in a harmonica form for harmonica players, but if we're being a musician and we're doing a performance, 90% of people or more are not going to be harmonica players. And the ones that
Yeah.
are, they, who knows if how good they are and what they can even hear. It doesn't really matter. For me, it's always been about being playing good music. However, personally, I always try to have the best technique possible. And there's going to be certain things, just like when we were talking about the comb and the style of harmonica, there's certain things that I like. You may not hear the difference if I play a marine band versus a crossover versus like a Seidel model or an old Wang harmonica or whatever, something else. But for me, I will certainly know the difference when I'm playing. And to me, that's really what the whole tongue block thing, the whole debate is about. Because if you're tongue blocking, there's all these other things that are possible. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I could generally speaking, and kind of, I think you were hinting at this, when you tongue block, there's definitely a bigger tendency by default of the embouchure if you're not a absolute beginner to have a rounder, warmer tone.
Yeah,
and
I think so
for
too.
lip players to be a brighter tone, that generally speaking. But if you have a good player who knows how to control their technique, like I can get a bright tone tongue blocked and I can get a warmer
Yeah,
tone lip blocking if I want, and I can kind of try to, play the tongue blocking thing and make it brighter. And somebody like, ah, it's tongue blocking, but that's because I just made it brighter. But
exactly.
it's really about having uh, the your a fuller palette and arsenal at your control when you're playing. To me, it wasn't just about the sound of one passage.
Yeah,
I'm sure you would agree.
yeah, I do.
Yeah. So when you tongue block, what would be the instances where you feel like you have to tongue block? Where you're using one of the effects?
I mean, of course, if I wanna add like a tongue slap in front of a note, like
Right.
using a full chord as a grace note, um,
Okay.
that would be a thing. Like, of course, like rhythmic chordal accompaniment.
Mm-hmm. Octaves or something, and
Um,
basically for any of the effects.
yeah, but also sometimes just like moving from one hole to another, like bigger jumps. Just
Okay.
doing the left and right tongue switching technique, basically.
Right. Right. Right.
So I
Yeah. Cool.
practice like playing the major scale in octaves. Like
Back and forth.
didn't do that
Cool.
for a long time, but yeah,
Sure. Cool. That's great. I've seen and heard Howard. Actually, that was really impressive. The first time I saw Howard do something like that live, because I mean,
yeah,
I know Howard a little bit, and we've done some events. We've been on some of the same events and stuff. And because I think a lot of people don't realize how advanced his tongue blocking technique really is. I mean, he can
yeah.
really do some amazing stuff. Yeah, for sure. Although when I told him I was doing tongue blocking overblows, he didn't believe me.
Mm.
But that was at that summit a long time ago. So
So, I mean, we already have like already like one hour is gone already, basically,
oh really?
and there are like so many more questions. Like we gotta do
uh
like quick answers.
okay, ready, go.
If you could go back in time and see one concert of a harmonica player who's no longer alive or active today, who would it be?
Oh my gosh, a harmonica player. I'd probably have to say Little Walter.
Okay, that's a clear
Yeah.
one. Did you actually start with tongue blocking or did you start lip
No, I
pursing?
started as a lip blocker.
Okay. Do you have any advice on tongue blocking blow bands on holes 8, 9, and 10?
Sure. Start working on on the control of your six draw bend on your G, and start going up higher. A harp, B flat, C, D, and then start from there. Start working on your blow bends on your low F and your G, and then your A, and then yeah.
Okay. Any tips on octave splits on chromatic harmonica without breaking your jaw?
On chromatic,
Yeah.
yeah, learn to smile wider. Be happy.
Robert Shoemaker Maker is asking, Dennis, do the shoes match the shirt today?
Well, today's shoes would cost more money to see. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe you can set up
Thanks,
like,
Bob from Transylvania.
that's Robert. I'm not
Yes,
sure.
that's Rob. Yeah, it's Bob.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe you could set up
Ro-
like a second webcam for the next time
yeah, let's do
for the
that. Okay,
shoes.
that's cool. Double pay though.
Yeah.
That costs extra to do the double stream.
Dennis, do you play in other keys on the chromatic harmonica besides D blues?
I do, but I usually don't do other than uh, I don't in public. I usually don't do more than third or 10th position, because I like playing those chords. And once you go out of those positions, those chords sound really, really bad. So it's not about not knowing the positions. I learned first, second, third, some fifth, and some 12th,
Yeah.
but it's the chords sound terrible, and I like playing chords when I'm playing. So yeah.
Spinner One says, just got a bulletizer to go with my SM57. Have you ever used that combo?
Um, yes, I'm not fond. I'm mainly a crystal microphone guy because a good crystal microphone will not only give you a different, broader tonal range than a microphone like that, but the texture and the way it distorts is a lot different than a dynamic type of mic. Plus, that bulletizer is still a little smaller than what I like to hold. When I'm holding, I mean, the amplified harmonica bullet microphone thing is one of my areas of immense study. And working a good cupping technique, which really acts like a volume and tone control when you play amplified, I find a lot more uncomfortable for myself and a lot of players who have experience when you're holding a microphone that's too narrow because you're already holding a diatonic harmonica this wide. So if anything is more narrow, you're kind of scrunching the back of your hands, and it kind of becomes uncomfortable to really control all the air at all the time. Not that you always want an airtight grip, but you want to be able to control that air. And I think it's much easier with the like a standard bullet type mic. And I do prefer the crystal. Sound of a crystal is you can only get with a crystal.
Yeah. So Jay is asking, where do you buy or find the crystal elements for repairing?
Most of them I've just had for years, and I've been collecting for years. So yeah, if I knew a place to find them now, I would probably buy the place out. But not that I
Yeah.
have that kind of money, but you can't really find them. There's no place to buy them. You have to be insane like me and haven't been looking for them for years. And even now, if you find them, obviously 9 times out of 10 they don't work anyway. So you really have to be committed to, you know, investing in time and money in this if you want to find a good one.
There's Bob again. Where does one
Bob.
get those cool mic mugs you're drinking from?
Oh, this mic mug. Oh, he's trying to get me to plug. Yeah, I make these all different microphone mugs and everything on my
Oh yeah.
website and stuff. I got shirts and stuff too, and posters, and it's all on my website. He knows that.
Link
He's trying
below
to.
in the description
Yes,
box.
thanks, Bob. He's got some of them too.
Um, is there something left?
That's
Can
it.
you
Nobody
give us
wants to know
some?
anything.
Can you give us some epic example of you playing some epic techniques and tunes?
I don't know anything epic. Sorry.
Howard Levy's Beethoven violin concerto tongue blocking is wild. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. He's Howard's got amazing technique, really, and control of it. I haven't heard him play much blues. Actually, I have heard him play some blues. I prefer him doing what he does best, which is not blues. But he really does have a great technique playing harmonica. I mean, he's a master, and a lot of people don't understand his thumb blocking technique is so great.
Yeah.
For sure.
And the last one is by Bonnie Kopsko. Who's your favorite
Bonnie.
New Jersey girl?
Yes. What was that?
Who's your favorite New Jersey girl?
Oh, Bonnie knows that it's her. Aside from my mom.
Okay.
Yes. I don't think my mom's watching though. She's probably, knitting or something.
Now everybody knows. You think there's something we can play together ending this stream?
Well, I don't think we can play together streaming.
Not at the same time.
Yeah,
But we could
sure.
share like trade courses or something.
Yeah, we could trade courses out of time. Sure, that's great. What key do you want to play in?
I don't mind. Not too high. I don't like the high harmonicas.
Okay, so let's go to C sharp. The key of C sharp.
Okay.
So I'm just kidding. That would. I got a bunch of keys in front of me. It doesn't really matter to me. Should we let the listeners, the viewers, choose a key?
Okay. Yeah.
I want it to be more interactive.
That's true.
All right, like they would know. Some of them don't even play.
So which key do you want to play us in, or which harmonica do you want to play us on?
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. See, I can do the eyebrow thing.
Oh, B
too,
flat,
so.
B flat.
B flat key of harmonica or B flat key of song. I'm good with either.
Harmonica. I think it's harmonica. Okay. Yeah. B flat harp.
I like a B flat.
Yeah.
Actually,
wow.
I like a B flat better than an A, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah. B flat is my favorite harmonica.
Really cool. That's one of my favorites also. I do like a low E flat as well.
Oh yeah, that's also
So what are we?
important. Like just thinking about all the songs, all the swing and jazz songs that were written for or written by saxophone players and stuff. Like the saxophone is tuned to B
Totally.
flat, so if you want to play these songs, you need these harmonicas.
That's very true. So what do we use? Are we using the B flat because
I
that's your
have the
favorite?
B flat in my hand. I also have a low B flat.
Ooh. Actually, I don't even have a low B flat handy. I have one, but not
Oh
here.
yeah.
Okay, so how do we do this? There's something. Let's have a viewer count us off, and then we can play in double time.
That's so hard.
I'm joking.
Low E harp. Do you actually have a low E harp?
A low E?
Yeah.
No. I have a low E, but a low E. I don't think that exists.
I think Seidel is making one.
A double low E.
Yeah.
Interesting. Hmm. That's cool. I know people. I mean, there's double O Fs, and I've had a double O F for years. But people can, most people can't even play that because they don't even. So it gets to a certain point where the reeds move so slow that there's lag in the response, and
Of
then
course. Yeah.
when I play the really low ones, I've learned to play purposefully a little ahead of where I want the sound to be.
That's so
But then
important.
when you try
And
to
good
do
that you
that and
say
you're
that.
trying to
Yeah.
swing at the same time, it's very difficult because you have to anticipate, every fraction of a second in your brain
Yeah.
how you want to time your next phrase and then play it slightly ahead of that.
Yeah. That's so important. That's like the best advice for low harmonicas ever.
Yeah. I mean, that's really with the lower, like a low, even like a low E flat, low D, low C, not below a C, it starts to get more like that, I think,
Yeah.
at least for me,
That's like latency on the computer.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And trying to anticipate that while you're playing live,
Yeah.
not, it's not the easiest
I
thing.
think that's a melody I played on stream yesterday or something. Like,
What's that?
do you know the melody of "Things Ain't What They Used to Be"?
Sure. Yeah. 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 Is that what you want to play?
Yeah, there was a suggestion.
Okay. Nice.
That was
That was
so much
great,
fun
man.
listening to you.
Well, I was putting my microphone on mute, so every time I said yeah, I wouldn't. That was great, man. Sounded great.
I really like your playing. Like, I mean, like, it's just like so enjoyable.
Oh, thank you, man. I love yours.
all
That
your
was cool.
all your jumps, like with tongue blocking, and like it's like a football player, like navigating through the field.
Well, it's the best thing is not to think about it. It's just to
Yeah.
go for it. When you make a plan for a play, when you think about it too much, you get too distracted. You
But I
know.
think like that's like a tendency with like harmonica players. I mean, that's easy to play, or like the stuff that comes with the instrument, like just playing notes that are next to each other.
Sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I
But
mean, there's so much more to explore.
that's true. That's true.
So
It's all about what not only what fits, but also, keeping things interesting and exciting, I mean, I just try to go with my ideas. They're always
yeah,
different though. I
there were
don't
like
always
all
have
these
to.
nice turning points
Right.
and stuff.
Right. And then I hear myself repeat something. I'm like, "Oh man, I did that like two choruses ago." Maybe nobody knows, but I remember, like, "Oh, I just stepped there."
Yeah.
That happens.
I think
Cool,
people
man.
are very happy that we played something in the end. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad people were tuning in. I
Applause.
appreciate that.
Thanks,
Thank you.
fellas. Thank you for watching. Um, a lot of German people. They're coming from my stream that I gave earlier today.
Awesome. Great. I miss them. I want to be back over there.
Yeah, when was the last time you played in Germany?
Well, just when last year when I was teaching there, and
Okay.
I performed a little bit there too, and I was also performed with Nick there as well last year. But yeah, it'd be nice to get back again when it's safe to do that. I love them there.
Yeah,
Great
we never
people.
really met at a harmonica event, right? So maybe, hopefully,
Yes,
next
that would be
year at
great.
the World Harmonica Festival.
That would be nice.
That would be nice.
I'm hoping so. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time and for agreeing to do this.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here. You
And
sounded great.
yeah, check out the description box below. You can go to Dennis' website, check out the microphones that you can see on screen. Where can people go to listen to your music or buy CDs? Also through the website, or what's like the best way?
Well, I have my older CDs on the website. The last two that I did with the Nick Moss band are either on his website or Alligator Records, but it's also all on iTunes and all that stuff as well. So yeah, I have jam tracks and microphones and lessons and all kinds of crazy shirts and mugs like Bob was trying to get me to mention. So yeah, all that stuff's on my website. And I've been doing a webinar every Saturday. I have actually Charlie Musselwhite this weekend coming up as my guest. But I've been trying to get a new guest. I had Kim Wilson and Rick Estrin, and I had Jason. So I'll have to find a way to get you on there too on some Saturday. I'm backed up now because now everybody wants to do it. But it'd be great to have you, and I'm doing it every week. So
okay, yeah, that's the new world we're living in.
I know,
online.
I know.
So yeah, you can let me know in the chat who you want me to have here on the Hohner Live next month. I think I'm gonna do one with Greg Slap too.
Oh, cool.
So you met last year probably at the
we were
Harmonica
teaching
Masters.
Yeah.
And
cool.
I'm trying to get a player from Iran too. There's a big harmonica scene there. It's crazy.
Who are you gonna have?
His name is Babak.
Wow.
Have you heard about him?
No, but I'll have to hear about him though.
It's crazy. Like there's such a big harmonica.
Really?
Yeah, community there, especially on Instagram.
I gotta check that out. Yeah. Awesome. Well, send me a link on Instagram because we're hooked up on Instagram too. So yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Thanks.
check out our Instagram accounts and follow us.
Yes.
It's badassharmonica.com, right?
Yes, that's me. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
watching, and hope to see you next month on a Thursday on the Hohner YouTube channel. Have a good day or good evening wherever you are.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.